Well, hey, John, it's good to see you again. Glad we had this chance to get together to talk about how to make work better.
Yeah, Laura,
Um,
good to see
what's
you.
new? What's been going on?
Well, I do have something kind of pertaining to what we're talking about that
Okay.
we're moving into some of the coming off the last time that we got together, talking about some positive things. This is uh, amazing. My wife is retiring.
That's so exciting.
Oh, it is. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. It's going to be amazing. She's giving them about 60 days. And so as of May 3rd, I think that'll be her last day. And we are very excited about it. Talk about positive, gratitude, all those things all rolled into one
Yeah.
experience. So we're looking forward to it. And so had to start off with that. That's kind of a catch up on what's going on in our house.
Well, that's a great news. That's very exciting to have that date to look forward to and moving into that new phase of life. Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Just
Yeah.
half of us, but yeah.
Right. But fortunately, we have a job that allows us to work from other places. So you all will have that opportunity too. That's great.
Yeah. When we move to Fiji, I'll still be able to work just
Yeah, as
fine.
long as you've got Wi-Fi, you can still work.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right, right.
Um, I was thinking, um, we're picking up from, you had some comments to make about last week because some of the things we closed up last time when we met were really important. We were talking about drug and alcohol abuse and moving
Hmm.
out of that and taking care of ourselves. And you were picking up on something at the end of that.
Yeah, we were talking about how to engage in positive activities. What are those, and how do you actually do that? And I was sharing, my exercise of doing a gratitude walk, and really in thinking about that, it's really grateful mindfulness of just being aware of the positive events happening around you on a daily basis, and really spending some time and remembering those moments and bringing them to the front of mind so they become more solid memories. And at that time you had mentioned something about blocks, and let's pick up on that next time of the things that interfere and create the negativity.
Yeah. Um, I think what I was thinking about, because we can interfere with our own success on a regular basis, is beginning or not being so aware and catching our negative thinking patterns and not having something positive to focus on. And we create these things like we call it negative self-talk. And classic thing is, let's say someone's moving out of something they wish they hadn't done, or a mistake or a hardship, and they begin self-criticizing and beating themselves up, beating themselves down, talking to themselves
Mhm.
in ways they would not talk to anybody on earth, not even an enemy. They don't go into that sort of stuff, but they'll beat themselves up. And it makes not impossible, but very, very difficult to move to a more positive place, a healing place, to open up to the things you're talking about. And things like, this is really common, all or nothing type thinking, either it's perfect or it's terrible. Either I'm right on top of everything, or I'm awful, rather than if I get off path, if I get off base, I can always get back on track. I can always get back to what I was aiming at. And giving yourself that kind of mercy, giving yourself that kind of grace, and really moving to understand our situation rather than blame on our situation. Blame is
It
a
sounds like,
scary thing.
yeah, definitely. It sounds like you're really talking about having self-compassion when you make that mistake, rather just recognizing that you're not you're human, and because you
Yeah.
make a mistake doesn't make you a mistake, and just to be gentler with ourselves, because that negativity can be so destructive and so damaging, but so easy, can be a default for people. um,
Yeah, it goes way beyond just feeling negative. It actually debilitates people.
It
debilitates
does.
possibility, debilitates positive movement. And so it becomes incredibly powerful. Now, once, let's say that anybody watching and the people that we talk to on a regular basis really are having to confront that. And we talk to people about that routinely, have for years. And even in ourselves or our spouses or family, whenever we pick up on this, encouraging ourselves and other people. Um, as I was starting to talk, I heard myself say the word not a few times.
Hmm.
And I really try to frame my thoughts without even the word not in it. I try to turn things into an affirmation of where I want to go rather than where I don't want to go.
Hmm.
And that goes all the way back into even setting up structure and talking to my son as he grew up from a tiny guy to a full grown man. I
Hmm.
almost probably never, notice my qualifications, nothing's perfect, ever told him, unless it was a safety situation, what not to do. And that comes from a thought process of I need to be aiming to what I want to do and where I want to go rather than a bunch of knots. So,
Hmm.
sort of like getting the knots out. So, what are some things that you think of? Because we talk about this a lot. You've got a few things about transitioning from the knots and quits into what we aim at in positivity. And it's sort of like, um, well, it's very much akin to positive psychology, which is something that anybody
Hmm.
can look up and research, and the powerful elements that are there. So, what do you think of when you think of what to move toward and aim at?
And I think, you frame that really nicely. It's in terms of, you know, taking control of your thinking or changing your thinking. And what came to mind to me as you were describing that, I remember competing in a triathlon and it was raining, and rain often will lead to flat tires. And I had had the experience of having a flat during a race, and it's very devastating. And so rather than saying avoiding flat tires, I thought, I want my tires to stay fully inflated. And it really did change the outcome. So it's just being able to have put into your mind and put into your actions what you want to see happen. Um, Another simple exercise I've done with folks and I've tried myself is when you catch your reflection, walking by a mirror, backing out of your driveway, and you make eye contact with yourself to say something positive, like, you know, you're good enough, or you're enough today, or I love you, something positive, because again, that creates those positive neural pathways. Some other ideas of ways to think, to train your brain to notice the positive and to stay positive, is connecting with others who make you feel good, people that are the positive influences in your life. And if you can't connect with them, physically, talk to them on the phone, email, have pictures of them, finding ways to be positive, or people that make you feel good, that add to your life. The other is to have, engage in play, find things that you enjoy that help you feel positive. Um, because it also in engaging in physical activities and riding your bike, running, walking, swimming, any of those activities, that it's hard to feel bad when you're doing something you enjoy, and it creates a positive. You'll find funny videos to watch, things that make you laugh, that make you positive. Recently, I had an experience. We had, the foot of snow that fell in East Tennessee that we never get, or West Tennessee that we never get. I was able to sled down my driveway for the first time, and I recorded a video mostly because I was having so much fun. I wanted to remember and how much fun it was, and it still makes me giggle to watch it. So to be able to kind of capture those moments of joy and replay them again is ways to sort of infuse that positivity.
I really thought that video would go viral. I mean, you talk about giggling as a grown woman. I couldn't stop laughing, you know, and the way it went around, I felt like I was sitting on the sled almost. That was just priceless.
Well,
Maybe we
thank
should
you
put
for,
it in the video. I don't know.
maybe
Maybe
we
we
could
could wrap
post it.
up with it today. I think we should.
Yeah, no, it was really a fun. Yeah, I really did enjoy myself, and it was, yeah. Anyway, so there again, the thing of infusing positivity is to be intentional about it, to find opportunities, and you can find opportunities. It takes work, it takes effort, but the rewards of that effort are worth the effort, I think.
I like what you're saying about effort because I think people that tend to be naturally negative, and it's so easy, especially with COVID and everything, to just
Hmm.
be in these negative mindset, is that certain people are just that way. And who can
Hmm.
develop the skill of being positive? Everybody can.
Right,
It takes
absolutely.
focus. Yeah, it really takes focus. Um, Anything else you want to add? Because what I'm hearing is if you get out and do these activities like you're listing, it's going to put you in a place where you pick up on more positive things. It's
Right,
more accessible. Like if you just sat in the house that day instead of sledding, you wouldn't have had that experience at all. It's so
right.
powerful just to think about moving yourself into a place where you have access to it.
Well, and I think it's also we become what we do. So the even if you don't feel like doing something positive, when you take action in that direction, it begins to create more positive feelings, more positive actions. It just builds on that positivity.
Okay.
So it's just taking that first step. Yeah. And it doesn't
Just,
have to be huge. It can be,
yeah.
a small positive step. And
Yeah.
yeah, makes a difference.
It reminds me what you just said about it doesn't have to be huge. Um, I'll ask people this because I've kind of developed this mindset of my own, and I find it very helpful. I'll say, do you drink coffee? I don't even drink coffee, but I think of that
Mhm.
because so many people do, and I say, well, yeah. So what do you think about when you're preparing your own cup of coffee? And oh, the day, what I've got to do, and all this. And I say, if you had somebody over as a guest and you were making them a cup of coffee, how would they take that? Oh, it would be a favor. It'd be a nice gesture. It would be kindness. And I said, have you ever thought of that for yourself? When you make your own coffee, you're doing a kind gesture for yourself because you enjoy it so much. You're doing something to take care of yourself. Little thing like that, just compressed little piece of, and they go, it's like they've never thought of that before because we,
Well, I think that's a great example. And, and another, I am a coffee drinker. And one of the best parts of the day is that first sip of coffee. And I think it has to do with the caffeine, but it's the heat and the smell. And that is like a small step you can take. Just spend 15 seconds on that first sip. And you really will, because it is lighting up your brain, chemically because of the caffeine. But the temperature, and again, it's just being that mindful of those little joys that create that more positivity.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that because I think the activities get you into a place where the positive feelings, the mood, the gratitude, all that is more accessible. The things that they talk about in positive, like basic elements of positive psychology, are exactly what you're talking about. It's like the positive mood being a predominant mood. Something positive is being what you're aiming at, drawing from, looking for. And it's incredibly important to have that focus at a time like this with COVID and people maybe going
Hmm.
back to school now, maybe getting back to work and leaving the isolation of home and things like that. Creating this even before that actually happens. It can happen
Hmm.
because it's sort of like we find what we're looking for in so many ways.
Right.
You mentioned last time so much about gratitude, and you've done that and
Hmm.
made that's an element of what's positive. Positive attitudes, um, things of validation, approval, and especially toward ourselves. And I think that's a big part of understanding rather than blaming when it comes to where am I right now? Am I where I want to be? Are things the way I want them to be? Well, let me understand how I got here and what else I can do about it rather than beating ourselves up. There goes that positivity out the door. But the
Right.
activities, coming back on track with activities is a great thought. All the things that you mentioned, it's just like it brings you right back in line with it. And um, in our country, part of being a citizen is the pursuit of happiness.
Mm,
Happiness is so much based on what we're looking at, but happiness is huge. But it's something. It's similar. It's not the same as joy. You mentioned joy. Joy to me seems to be something that's held inner on the inside. Nothing
mm,
can disrupt it. Nothing disrupts it. I think of joy as being like the rivers in the ocean and happiness being the waves, and they change all the time
mm.
and based
Yeah.
on things, sort of like somebody said one time, happiness is based on happenings. And that's not a minimization of it, it's a realization of it. Unless,
Hmm.
as you deepen that, it becomes more of a joyful thing in life and being appreciative and have gratitude and for what there is. And just think of this, if you just kind of absorb the scope of what we're talking about and sit in the middle of the distress that's going on, there's still great things going on. And it's a part of being able to face it better, healthier.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's giving you the tools to face adversity, to face the difficulties, to face the challenges.
That's a great thought because people want to, how do I face it? These are the exact things to do to build resilience and manage and be able to be settled more in the disruption. It seems to me.
Right. And it's critical to be able to build resiliency. That is an essential
Yeah.
part of being content. But I think you're right, the with happiness, and there is a difference between happiness and joy. And there's also a huge individual difference in terms of um, what makes each person happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's valid.
Right.
It's a valid place. It doesn't have,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you
Right.
stay out of that all or nothing thing and just think sort of, I think of it as instead of black and white thinking in color and
Hmm.
find what you're happy with in a real sense and
Right. Right.
stay with that, where good, healthy energy comes from.
Hmm.
That's powerful, powerful. All right. That kind of stirs up some more ideas to kind of continue talking about this topic, it
Yeah.
seems like to me. Because, while in the past, we've been able to identify some of the distress and the things going on and the challenges of it, like last time, what can happen. And this is applicable to absolutely everybody. So maybe we can keep heading in this direction and be helpful.
Yeah.
So,
Providing tools, suggestions, ideas. Yeah. I
yeah.
think it's a good idea.
All right. Well, I appreciate you bringing that up and
Yeah.
getting us started. All right, Laura, that was very helpful. I'm more positive just thinking about it and having the conversation. I think that's also a good activity. All right.
Absolutely.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
John.
thank you very much. Good visiting with you again. We'll do it again soon.
All right. Take care.
You too.